Hello everyone, my name is JD Calderon and this is Indie Comics Explained, and yet again I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. Without further ado, he's just a blank spot today, but he's here. What's up, Jay?
What's up, everybody? I am Dee Rosario from Unstoppable Comics. Been making books since 2008 with titles such as Shield of the Interceptor, The Dead Princess Vicky Sticks, and currently on Kickstarter, New York versus the World. What's going on, bud?
What's up, man? Listen, let everybody know where you're currently at, though.
I am stuck in traffic in New York and, trying not to pull my hair out right now. Gotcha.
All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, don't pull out too much. You'll end up like me, so, Let's see. Bring in our co-host for the night, Mr. Mark Torres. Please introduce yourself, Mark.
Hello, this is Mark Torres of the King from Radio, the official show of the Big Apple Con. I've been hosting a radio show. We just celebrated our 24th anniversary on WGB Long Island station. And also I have a book designated about two warring alien races fighting with lady discovered power source. The world finds its way to Earth and also some humans and abilities. Issue 1 and Issue 2 is on sale right now.
All right, cool. Mark, you might want to pump up your mic a little bit. You're sounding a little back there.
Pump up the mic.
Yeah, like, I don't know what it is. Yeah, you're sounding like a little far away or a little low.
Is that any better? That works.
Yes.
That works a little bit better.
All right, hold on. Let me play with the settings. Continue on.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Mr. Fish.
What is up? I am Mr. Fish of Mr. Fish Comics, the fastest working man in indie comics. I have worked on over 130 books in the last 7 years since I got started. And right now, GoMrFish.com, I have the Roll for Hero Handbook, which is the handbook that goes along with our weekly art stream where we roll up random prompts and create brand new OCs on the spot. We're also going to be doing a mini comic this time that we're going to roll up on live streams with the backers. You get to help us come up with ideas, how we're going to put the powers together, what we're going to name them, what the story's going to be. You get to be there from start to finish, learn how to make your own mini comics at home if you want to. It's going to be a good time.
Cool.
How's that? Is that better?
That's better.
Yes.
Fred.
Hey, everybody. My name is Fred Schwartz, writer and creator of Fisticuffs, and I'm really excited to be here today. I love doing shows with Mr. Fish over here. A little disappointed, Mr. Rosario. You could have done a J9000, kind of a Kubrick homage with your little blipping dot there today. It would have been nice, but other than that, happy to be here.
I don't think so, Fred.
That wasn't me, by the way. Hi, everybody. Randy Zimmerman, Arrow Comics. Current gig is writing The Atlantean, the issue 5th of which is done and out of my house. Russ Leach is doing the artwork for it. It's looking absolutely fantastic, and it ought to be campaigned, I believe, in August. He's almost done with it. There's going to be 2 big stories in it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be great.
Nice. You say you're putting out an Omni, though, soon, right? Like a larger one?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
We put one out with a campaign that had the first 2 Atlanteans in it, plus the adaptation of the Shadow Realm, which is where everything really starts off from, which is a Robert E. Howard short story, first sword and sorcery story, first cult. Pardon, losing my voice, been sick, and hacking like crazy. But we kicked out a little collection for the campaign for number 3, and it was so successful, we figured we'd put everything together into one big omnibus and offer that later. But 5 will be first. That'll be out in August.
All right, cool. Very nice. All right, gentlemen. I'm sure you saw the show question. So what's more important to you? ROI or the work? Right? It's different for everybody. Everybody says both. But, some of us have preferences. Or at least I've seen plenty of preferences online when it's discussed. All right, last man in, first man up. So that's you, Randy.
Always the work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing myself coming through. Yeah, it's always the work. Return on investment. If you're doing we're from the '80s and the black and white scene. If you're doing alternative comics for return on investment, you are in the wrong field. So you need to find a better or different direction or more dedication from somewhere. So, or a better source of income that we can all make money on. So please go do that.
All right. Fair enough. Mr. Fish, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I am doing this to make money and pay the mortgage, so I want to make money on it. And I have learned to start cutting things out if they're not making me a profit, if I'm just wasting time and effort on it because I enjoy it, but I'm not making a profit on it. But ultimately, it is about like telling the story. That's why I'm doing this for a living instead of like logo design. And I'm a storyteller at heart. So I'm going to keep cranking out my stories, even if it's just me and 20 people on Kickstarter reading it. I'm still going to keep doing it.
All right, cool. Mr. Schwartz.
Yeah, I actually signed up to do today's show because I would like to hear about this concept of return on investment. I want to know what it is and how it works. It sounds really neat and fun. Right now, I am a total like for the work person. Years ago, when I was a personal trainer and doing something that I didn't love, and I first started doing a little side creative project, and one of the ladies in sales said very sincerely to me that if you do something you love, the money will find you. And I really believe that, and because she said it with real like conviction, and I look forward to one day being able to tell her that she was right. So right now, yeah, I'm all about that. I'm all about the, do the product, make it as good as you can. And, I talk about it a lot, kind of the this is me on a plate, project, like a lot of creatives get to do that. Obar did it with The Crow. Kevin Smith did it with Clerks. Scorsese with Mean Streets. So I'm maybe getting a little off topic here, but I really believe in that, like, chase the, do the thing that you believe in and make it as good as you can. And hopefully it'll work out.
All right, cool. Jay, you're back?
I'm back.
All right. Well, it's Mark is up, so let's give him a second.
Okay.
Mark, what are your thoughts?
It's hand in hand, but I was at a convention. I've told the story many times. I was at a convention one time. I was overhearing a conversation between two artists, and they said that they are creatives, and the problem with being a creative is that you have to create. So it's all about, you have to get the story out there. You have to put it out there. So it is for me to get the story out. However, you need money to do that. So it would help to get somebody to do the story and get the return on investment. But, you can't create if you don't have that passion to create.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Jay, what's up?
So yeah, I'm going with return on investment, right? I'm over here in the car with the boss, and the rule is, if you're not making money, you can't make books. Plain and simple, right? If it's cutting into, the joint life account, then we gotta put the kibosh on it, right? And like Fish, I have trimmed the fat for things that are not performing. I'd love to say I do this for the beauty of the art, but when I got to keep the lights on at the same time, I can't really make that decision. So it's down to return on investment first.
Nice. Wifey's keeping you honest tonight. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
They're good at that.
I got a tightrope.
The toes were curled up.
The good ones are good at that. Let me say that.
All right. For myself, it's always been the work. When I was younger, I was really concerned about cash. But as I grown older and like advanced in my career or whatever, and things have balanced out, it's less about money. Obviously, I have to pay my artists, but I've gotten to a point where I'm like, should I execute on X, pulling out X to pay for Y? And I'm like, I haven't done it yet, but it's always a thought that's in the back of my mind, and it has more to do with just trying to get the project done. Oswald's a big deal for me, so it's like getting that done is massively important for me. So it's it's always in the back of my mind. But fortunately, Kickstarter is still holding up its end for me, so that's good. Now it's just trying to find new revenue streams, right? So yeah, because the thing is like, I've had, and you guys chime in on this because this is at this second, this is gonna be real free form. So because the one thing I've noticed is that I've been doing this show for 5 or 6 years. Numbers have stayed the same, right? They sometimes go up, sometimes go down, but they pretty much settle in the same spot. I'm pretty sure if I averaged it out, it would just average out at X number. And I don't know how the rest of you feel about that or look at that, right? Like, in the beginning, when I started, everyone was saying, oh, well, every campaign will grow. Every campaign will grow, right? Bullshit, right? It's not every campaign grows. Sometimes it comes down, sometimes it goes up. We don't know what's going on. It could be there's too many people on the marketplace. Joe Quesada decided to put out a new art book, so he's sucking all the money out of the room. So who knows what's causing it, right? And I'm not blaming Joe. He's a good guy. But, it's one of those things where it's like, we don't really know, right? What's caused. I mean, obviously, I don't have a 20-year career at Marvel, right? So I don't have that to fall back on. But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, so the marketplace is kind of balanced out. Like we kind of know where we're at, right? We should continue to push forward, but that's hard, because we're trying to market, but it seems like we're always marketing to the same people, right?
Yeah.
And it's trying to find those new eyeballs, those new customers. Where the hell are they hiding? Because the son of bitches are hiding somewhere, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, how much do you have to pay to get that? Because like I did 2 cons this year, and 2 cons that I ended up spending probably, when it's all said and done, I probably ended up spending $2,500 to make about $700 on those cons. They didn't come out super well for me. I did make some connections with some really awesome fans that like had come back to this con to see me and get more of my stuff because they loved my work. I did make some brand new fans that were passionate about my work, which that's good, and they're going to continue to pay off. But that's a lot of money to put out to get 5 new really excited fans. So the return on investment on that wasn't super great. I had a great time, but it was a very expensive, 2 vacations.
Yeah, but I mean, look at us, right? How many of us over here are under 40? Are we doing enough to reach the outlets that we need to reach to get eyes on our product, right? Are we selling books to? Are we trying to fit an older format as opposed to what is going on in the market right now and trying to attach ourselves to those readers? Did I come through, or was it just?
Yeah.
No, you came through.
Yeah. Okay.
Statement and left us all in awe.
It felt like a guru, kind of the way that you put it. You were like, "Are we doing this?" It felt like a preacher of some kind, like in my ears and.
No,
disembodied
I love
voice.
this.
It felt like the voice of God in a way. Like I'm like,
I'm honestly considering adjusting all of my trades that are coming out right into that new digest compact format.
Isn't it a cool format? That's a nice format.
Right?
I think every time I start a new series about going manga with it, just because the kids are so much more likely to pick up a manga than they are a traditional, old school American style comic book. And the black and white's cheaper and I can make it faster and blah, blah, blah. My only problem is I feel like I would be a pretender trying to make a manga because I don't read manga all the time. And I don't want to be somebody who's trying to pretend to fit into that space to people that read it all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I do. But what did they say? Did they ask that question when they made that cartoon Aang, the Last Airbender, right? That Avatar? That's not manga. That's not anime, right? But they were certainly influenced by it. And they went out there, they put out the product, and those who loved it flocked to it. And they shout that stuff from the mountaintops. You're not being a pretender, you're making the adjustments you got to make to put the best product you can out there.
I mean, a portion of that with that format is cost, right? Because the cost I'm producing that is a lot cheaper than producing an average size comic book. It's sometimes gonna be half, right?
Yep.
So yeah, there you go. So when you're selling to a younger person who might not have as much disposable income, right? They're going to be willing to, they might be willing to buy that, because it's like, oh, well, it's $10, I could afford that, or $15, which is what manga is going for currently.
But with today being about return on investment, and forgive me if I don't understand this, but isn't doing a comic book and a manga doubling your investment? Don't you have to do it in a separate format, right? I mean, if you have a story, I don't know, do I not understand this? Right? You're talking about writing the Oswald Chronicles and then doing the Oswald Chronicles in a manga form. Well, isn't that a different set of art or a different presentation?
No, you're talking about format. So
then it would just be different lettering.
The shaping and
we're
stuff.
talking about the size of the book.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Because Fred, they readjusted. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say they readjusted Watchmen and The Dark Knight to fit that digest format over in DC.
The size, sure,
and those are some of those biggest sellers.
Jay, but keep in mind, everything that they've printed in that format so far, they didn't have to make an investment on. It's all reprints.
It's
a lot of those reprints, these guys don't even get paid royalties on. So it's all free reprints.
I guess what I'm not understanding is if you really want to, I guess what I'm saying is to cater to the manga people, you'd have to really do a manga, right? Backwards to forward, right? So that would be, so all you're really doing is doing another version of printing your comic, which is great if you can afford it, but aren't you then doubling your investment and then hoping to sell out of both sets of stock? No?
Well, I think that if you were to do that, you would be catering Mr. Fisher Mark said earlier, that you'd actually be almost kowtowing to that audience, and you shouldn't be. You should do a product that you're proud of, that you have faith in, that's gonna people are gonna be entertained by, not that necessarily fit a niche like manga or American comics.
And if you were doing it just to fit that niche, just to make a sale, then that would probably be the wrong reason to be doing it. I mean, I like the format. I love black and white. That's my passion, because I came of age with the Ninja Turtles and stuff. That's what made me fall in love with wanting to do indie comics. I studied black and white my whole life, and then the whole world changed and went to color, and I had to learn that. Freaking blues and greens, it's a bunch of BS. Man, I love black and grayscale.
And again, I think, considering that we're working in alternative and independent market, Mr. Fish, you should be doing a product you're happy with, not one that you think caters to the market.
Right.
Well,
you love that black and white stuff. Do that black and white stuff because your love for that's going to come through.
Standing at my table with a black and white comic, I had so many people that would come up that were interested in an indie comic and then see that it was black and white and be like, "No, I'm out," and walk away just for that simple thing. And to me, I was like, why would you walk away from a cool story over color? But a lot of people do. The pretty colors catches the eye like freaking,
Well, yeah, that's why you had all the primaries on the covers for the newsstands way back when.
Yeah.
And that was the pure reason that I went with doing color when I did Green Zone. I wanted to do it in black and white for myself, but I knew it would get more attention on the table if the book was in color. So I did that. And it sells, it probably sells a little better at cons than it would have in black and white.
Right.
I might would have liked it a little more in black and white, but it's still a great book.
Adjusting and readjusting what you offer the same thing?
Yes.
Repeat that.
So basically, if you decide to do a manga, it's not that you're not doing your best work, it's that it doesn't, you have to adjust to the times.
You do, right?
Yeah.
Did people
reformat.
in Hollywood, did it bother them when they would put out a movie in VHS and DVD and Blu-ray and digital? No. They fit the format. They fit the market that was selling.
And if the comic market figured
we've been too
always
with the art. Yeah.
Sorry, Jay, I didn't mean to
Now,
step
what
on
would
you.
it take to make a manga? Do you have to remake what you already have?
I have to remake, so I got to readjust the word balloons. That's all. I don't have to readjust the art. I just got to
No,
readjust.
and I see what you mean by the
shrink the page, right?
Yeah,
But you
I mean-
don't have to do that because Clip Studio has manga.
Yeah,
It's
this
got to be
is-
more than that.
this
baby.
is
You
what
need to know how to
Daphne
use
and
the
I have done.
tools
You
to
know,
format it correctly, right?
Yeah.
That's
we
that's the
had
equivalent of
this,
saying, okay, I got a pizza
and then
pan.
we did this.
I'll just
it's
lay it out there and I'll
the
put
same
the dough.
thing.
It'll make the
Is the bigger one, is it the same format, like sizes just blown up? Or
It's the same exact thing, just blown up.
you got to do pre-press.
so is it bigger than a
Well,
regular?
For me, honestly,
comic
no.
book?
It's
Like,
it's
that's
just
the
the work, the
interior,
investment,
and
and the time that needs to be done, right?
that's
But
the
I can do
interior.
that. And I already
Literally,
did the
what
price
we
work.
did was just increase
To
the
get 500
size.
copies
If
in
you
that style at 100 pages, it'll cost me
if you
$1,300.
take your file
So that
and
means I can get it
just
for about $3
okay,
a
so let's say you
pop,
have it 100% comic book size,
right?
10
And
point, was
that's
it
with the shipping
3,
included,
5,
and the
7, whatever it
taxes
is,
and the tariffs.
and you
And we
reduce
can
it
sell it for
down in a
10
PDF
bucks.
file,
I still make 7
right,
on it.
which is a printable file. You know, you can just shrink it down by almost 30%, and it'll bring it down to this size, and it should be fine. You know, what Jay's saying, he's right, where, you know, you have to sometimes adjust the lettering. It's not necessarily necessary in all the cases, because I know in the DC books they did not adjust the lettering.
Mhm.
You know, because I picked up the Supergirl book by Tom King, and I had a hell of a time reading that sucker, because I was just like, I could read it.
It was Tom King too.
Well, I actually like some of Tom King's stuff. So
I
that
love
one-
Tom King.
Okay.
Big Tom King fan.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it just depends on what it is.
Mhm.
Because I've read some of his stuff. I'm like, and then I've read some of his stuff. I really, really enjoyed it. This particular Supergirl story, I actually really enjoyed.
Mhm.
You know, I didn't like the movie as much as I liked the book more than I liked the movie. You know, because in the book, she's represented just as Supergirl. She wants to get away a little bit, maybe have a couple of drinks, relax a little bit, let her hair down. Whereas in the movie, she was just skanky. You know, so that I think those are the big two differences for me. So, yeah, I mean, you know, but I think, you know, doing this, because literally all you're doing is just shrinking the formatting. I'm fortunate that I'm working with Daphne. You know, she does the formatting, so she reformats them.
Mhm.
You know, if you have to pay someone to reformat the entire book, that might be an issue for you. You know,
Yeah, that was kind of what I was getting at. Was like I wonder if there were like an additional cost, and then also if you have to kind of like, you know, when you're guessing your inventory, you're figuring out your inventory. If you kind of have to like hit the nail on the head twice, you know, you have to get the different sizes right. You know, otherwise you have like one offsets the success of the other one. You know,
right?
No?
But it also depends on you know, how you're printing them. If you're printing offset, then yeah. But if you're printing POD, you know, you print 10 of this, 20 of that, doesn't matter at that point. You know what I mean? I mean, if you're just printing POD, it doesn't really matter. But if you're printing offset, then you're like, yeah, you gotta like, because you're gonna print at least 500 of them.
Mhm.
So, you know, you have to be prepared to house it and sell it and do all that stuff. So, you know,
And that's
That's
mighty
what-
generous of a printer to only print 500. Usually the minimum's 3,000
Oh, I got a bunch of printers that'll do 500.
on a color comic.
Yeah.
Oh, good
coming
on
in,
you.
well, for me, they're
Well,
all
it's-
coming out.
They were
of China.
getting the anime in mind.
I guess I'm showing my age then, because last time I went around and got estimates, the minimum was 3,000.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's here in the States, maybe Canada, but in China you can get it for 500. You
Oh,
can get it for 500
okay,
bucks.
yeah.
And even in Europe though,
Yeah.
Europe as well. China, I think Thailand and Singapore, a couple places you can get like 500 copies. You know, so and the prices are really good. You know,
And
the only-
when all of your money is in the setup and the actual person, you know, turning the dials on the printer, you know, cheap
Mhm.
labor can keep the cost down pretty good. So
Mhm. Well, also you got to remember most facilities are so automated.
yeah,
It's not
you just
even,
touch a button and everything will
Right.
line up. Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly,
yeah. The facility.
Yeah, it's all print to plate, and I mean,
Oh,
it's,
back in my day, you had to turn dials. Anyway,
yeah, yeah.
And in these cities in
you're
China,
making me feel old. I'm sorry.
everything is in one city. So the places that make the printing machines and manufacture the ink and manufacture the paper are all in the same city. So they're
Yeah.
not having to ship it across the country.
Yep.
You're just like getting a delivery from the other side of town, and
True.
it brings everything
Mhm.
down. It's amazing the way they work it all together.
All right, gentlemen, I'm pretty sure you what the hell? Okay. I'm pretty sure you got. I don't know if you guys read the memo, but I asked everybody to come up with a question. Right? So, who wants to go first?
I'll go.
All right.
Okay. So I recently
Do a manga?
Manga?
is anybody
Manga
else
style or manga?
Yeah.
getting Rosario in the ear there?
That's weird too, because he's muted.
Yeah. I wonder if he knows.
Strange.
He wasn't when he was talking earlier. You should just let him run.
Yeah,
We'll sit there and just comment on his comments.
Somebody should let him know. I mean, we don't want him like accidentally, letting like his medical history out or anything like that.
Probably.
He should know that it's
Social security number.
Yeah, exactly. His bank number, his bank card number. So,
But so my question is this: recently I got rid of a lot of my action figures, but after weeks of doing these shows with Rosario and his collection in the background, I broke down this week and I got a few again. So my question to you is this: your collection was hollowed out, and you got to buy 5 action figures to start a collection anew. What do you buy?
Interesting. All right.
He's got very strong feelings about it.
About that question. Yes, he does.
He chews through a lot of them, so he's taking down the Joker, Thor.
Oh man!
Wow, that's rough. The a terrier? Yeah.
Yes, sir. You tell him.
Yeah, terriers. A lot of energy. Mr. Fish, what are your thoughts?
I honestly know this because they're the figures that I started out with when I went to buying stuff to like fill up decorations behind me, and then I realized it's too far away for the camera to see. So now it's boxes of comic books. But I started out with the creature from the Black Lagoon because when your name's Fish, he has to be your favorite Universal monster. Even if you look more like Frankenstein, it has to be, Gilman. And then it comes down to like Merman from He-Man, Faker, because he was my absolute favorite bad guy. Like, just it blew my mind that you could just put different colored plastic in the mold and get a whole new character out of it as a kid, and that just opened my mind up to so many possibilities, and I loved that. And then Skeletor and He-Man. That's exactly what I started rebuilding with, and that's what I would do again tomorrow.
But the thing about Faker is that even though he was blue, he wore Skeletor's outfit. So that's a terrible Faker. Like, who's he gonna trick?
It's such a bad design. Like, to fake out anybody because you're wearing
toy buying moms
in orange and you're bright blue, like He-Man is sometimes, And I love it. I love it so much.
I finally got to see that movie this week, and it made me so freaking happy. I loved it. It was great. It was so great. Roboto cameo or is fine. Oh my god! Oh,
yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, it's crazy when like Masters of the Universe is like, I wish my mom was here to see this. Like, she would have got such a kick out of it.
I got to play He-Man toys with my grandbabies this week, and I actually pulled down my collection and started playing with the grandbabies. I had to stop them a few times. I'm like, all right, look, these are Grandpa's toys. These ain't for smashing. These are for playing. And
these are the special action figures.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Fred, Fish, did you guys know that they made a new animated series, like an offshoot of the movie? It's free on YouTube, and it's really good.
Yeah.
And it's just like little shorts.
I had no idea.
Yeah, no one knows that. It just kind of just appeared. They're like mini episodes, like maybe 5 minutes. I think they're like the 5th one's already aired. They're little shorts. They're really entertaining, and they bring up the Faker color thing in it, which I thought was hilarious.
That's awesome. I might have to check that out.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun being a He-Man fan this week. I really enjoyed it.
All right, cool. Just real quick, Chris, nice to see you, sir.
Hi, so good to see you too.
Yeah, please.
I am so sorry. I had some tech issues and was having really big problems connecting, but now I'm here, and it's all good.
But introduce yourself real quick.
Oh, absolutely. Hi, I'm Chris. I'm the author of Mandrill PI. It's about a primate private detective in a cartoon universe who solves supernatural and occult mysteries.
Nice.
Okay, I will brag. I love Fred's stuff. But I freaking love Mandrill PI too. That is one of my favorite stories. I have
Thanks
so
so
much
much.
fun with every issue of that. I just got to brag on it. I love it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Randy, what are your thoughts on the question?
If I lost all my action figures, I don't have very many action figures now. I've got Silvermane that you gave me and a couple of K-pop things, and that's about it. But if I were to start collecting action figures, I think I got a Rocketeer, I got a Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Replace that, and all of those old Alex Toth, Hanna-Barbera characters I'd love to have. I'm currently watching Tony, I can't remember his last name, starts with a C, on Facebook, who's got a 3D printer, and he is a master at 3D sculptures. He's got, his collection is the envy of I think everybody. He just sculpts everything back from my childhood. I keep telling him he's sculpting all of my childhood heroes. It's just amazing. But yeah, that'd be action figures for me. I'm all books though, you know me. I'm all books and comics.
All right, cool. Chris, I don't know if you heard the question, but it's if for some reason you lost all of your action figures, all of your toys, what are the 5 ones you would start collecting, or which are the first 5 you bought?
Oh, geez. For me, it was all like the Marvel action figures from the like mid 90s, like early to mid 90s. And I guess technically I have lost them all because my kid just has them now and plays with all of them now. So, technically I already did. And I would start with those again, I think. But yeah, I'd say like my favorite one growing up was, Nightcrawler was my favorite Marvel character when I was a kid. And also, still, and I've got the little one with like the suction cup on the hand that he keeps in our car right now and onto the window. And I'd say if that one ever disappeared, that would be the one that I would restart with.
I love that whole set. They were all great. That whole first line was amazing.
All right, cool. Mark.
I would go with the G.I. Joes. I always loved the G.I. Joes. The real American hero G.I. Joes. Those were my favorite toys because they were cheap when they came out. They were the most affordable. They were most articulate, and they had a whole bunch of interactivity with the vehicles. G.I. Joes would be the way to go.
Yeah. Jay, you still there? Hello, Jay. Hello, Jay. Hello. I don't know if he's still there. All right.
I don't know if he knows
He's driving under a tunnel.
Maybe.
He might not remember he's even on the air. He had such an involved conversation.
That's true.
I was tongue-tied when I tried to say it before, and it's not because I didn't want to say it. It's because I was just
Jay, can you hear us?
Girl.
Okay. I don't know what's going on.
You might want to mute him.
Yeah, I want to mute him before he says something insane.
Sounds like the conversation's heating up.
Exactly.
Well, maybe not the conversation. But anyway.
Yeah. So for myself, it'd be a Hellboy, or like good because they have like a really nice Hellboy that's like I'm really avoiding buying, right? But I really want it, but I'm like been really avoiding buying it, right? But yeah, it would be a good Hellboy. They just announced an Acroyer, right, from the Micronauts. And it looks like the Acroyer though from the comic books, not like from the original Micronauts line.
Is it on the black card? Black bubble card? Like the old Micronauts used to be, or is it just a newer?
I think it's a newer thing because I just saw it and it was just like I think it was coming out of San Diego and they just had the figure. I didn't see any card or anything.
Cool.
But it looks really cool. So I would get that. I've been buying some of the other Micronaut toys. It's been all right, I think Chris is still there.
Yeah, I don't know what just happened. Sorry.
Yeah.
I've
been picking up some of the other Micronaut toys. So I guess that's about it. I think and Dark Horse has been putting out some Lord of the Ring figures, but it's from the Rankin and Bass version.
Oh.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
it's those designs. Yeah. I got 2 of them for Daphne. I got her. Well, they've only released 2 so far, and they're just announced 2 more. But it was I always get them mixed up. Bilbo, is that the one in which one is that? Is that, or is it Frodo? I get the 2 of them mixed up.
Frodo's Lord of the Rings. Bilbo is Hobbit.
Okay, Hobbit. So yeah. So it's him, and it was Gollum, and he has a little fish in his hand. It's freaking hilarious. So yeah.
Cool.
I
That Gollum gave me nightmares as a kid. That freaked me out so bad.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh my!
I love Gollum. I almost got a Gollum tattoo at one point. When those movies were out, I was that into it.
Gotcha. Let's see if Mr. Rosario's back. Jay, can you hear me? Hello, Jay. Jay. I don't know. He's in there. Maybe he's in the tunnel. I don't know.
I feel like it's like some kind of bizarre like taxi cab confessions or something, you know, like we keep chiming in.
I know. It's really weird.
Oh, baby, she meant nothing to me. Okay.
Right? Jesus. All right. Actually, anybody else have a question that they want to ask?
I got a question.
Go ahead, Mark.
So jumping on what we were talking about earlier about doing different formats of your product, it's still about going to try to find the audience. What have you found is the easiest way to find new audience, target audiences? So like you go to a certain convention, you're only going to see a certain amount of people. What other things have you found that help expand your audience and your reach? Or have you?
Fred, you're up.
So I'm still figuring that out, right? Like I'm still trying to figure out the secret sauce of what works and what like what ratio. Right now, I would say I'm at the spaghetti at the wall stage. Now I'm echoing. What are you having fun today, Calderon? Today, messing with everybody?
I was trying Jay, and Jay is looping.
Oh. Anyway, stop it. Now you upset the come here. Anyway.
Obviously,
Is it you he's barking at or what? That's what I want to know.
All right, I'll take the toy then.
So maybe
Anyway.
you should go to animal shelters. That's what the dog wants to do.
No,
The animal shelters, sell your stuff there.
honestly, I think the dog's trying to help me. Like if we make more money, we can send him to like some kind of extra training and stuff. So maybe we can,
we got a surprise guest.
Incentivize. Hey, there he is.
Oh, Fred get his dog trained by buying some copies of Fisticuffs today.
That's
For just the price of 4 issues, you can get your dog some obedience training.
Come here. You're making me look bad. You're embarrassing me. 3, 2.
Why not right now?
Ouch. Just go get the tire. Okay, I'm done.
All right, I muted Fred for a second. Jay, just to get your input, because this was your question. Did you hear the question? Now
I think Jay's frozen.
Yeah, now Jay's frozen. It's hilarious.
Just a pretty face. That's all he is.
This is coming to you live, folks, right on tape.
Coming through live, yes.
To answer your, I'll get my answer in real quick while he's quiet, Mark. Right now, I'm at the spaghetti in the wall stage. Right, I go to like any show I can get into, and I give it my all, and I try to meet everybody and do my damnedest. The other thing that I try to do is as many of these shows as possible, because I find like if I overthink, I don't know what to say, and I talk myself out of stuff. But when I'm on these shows and I'm just kind of tossed to the wind, Rosario's expression was haunting me for a minute there. I'm sorry, no. When I do these, I usually say thoughtful things, and I don't say stupid shit unless I get on one of these tangents. But so I try to do a lot of these things where I feel like more comfortable, and you just kind of find what you're best at. Also, Fish has come help me out big time. I find like getting other creators to check out your work, because sometimes, especially when I'm new to this, I lack a confidence, in my description of stuff, and sometimes other people that are more confident, expressing themselves can help, say what you need to say about your project. So right now I try it all. I try to meet other creators and make good relationships however I can, especially if it's these shows, cons, or just working together. Fish and I worked on a project together, so just whatever however you meet people, just try to just keep spreading the word and getting along.
It's so much easier to see how you could be pitching your book easier than to see how I could be pitching my book easier. Like when we were talking about the AA stuff with Fisticuffs, it was such an obvious thing that that's what you need to lead with the story. When I'm trying to pitch my stuff, I don't have the same enlightenment that I did when I was trying to help you, or trying to help somebody else with their book. And oh, you need to be going for moms. They're the ones that are going to buy this for their kids. You need to be pitching to them. I'll go ahead and take it. For me, the thing that has been the most helpful for me has honestly been TikTok, and getting out there and just being able to make short videos that show a little bit of my personality, let people get to know me, and try and be as helpful as I can possibly be with people that want to learn how to do this stuff that I do every day. And offering those kind of tips has brought in a whole lot of people that were really interested in learning more about it, and also made me a lot of really good friends. Like my buddy T.S. Luther, that I work on nearly every project with now, and is co-writing my story I've been working on for 30 years. I met him because he saw me on TikTok and sent me a script for his book and asked me if I would read it. And I was like, yeah, sure, stranger on the internet, I will read your script. And, and I was trying to think of nice things to say, boy, you used a lot of punctuation, man. Good job. And I read it, and I was legit upset when we got done that I found out he already had an artist on it, because I really wanted to do the book because it was really good. And now we've worked on a project that he's out there selling, and he's helping me write my book now and making it better. And, I'm not upset about that at all. But TikTok videos, man, getting out there and just getting in front of people and letting them see you, and, either they want to come along for the ride or they don't.
All right, cool. Let's pause for a second. Jay, nice to have you back.
Go back to the original question tonight. This is what you need: a return on investment, so you can pay for better Wi-Fi service. Okay? Because the Wi-Fi service on the phone was, blah, you see what happened there? And then when I got home, blah, you see what happens there? I need my books to make money, guys. Okay.
All right, point taken. But there was a question that Fred asked that I thought was right up your alley. Shoot. He asked, his question was, Fred, do you want to repeat it, or you want me to do it?
Yeah, I was saying, as we talked about, since you're a bad influence on me and I spent all these weeks staring at the wall behind me, in the event that your collection was wiped out and you could start over with 5 figures, what are they?
5 lines or 5 particular figures?
5 figures. You get 5 action figures.
Okay.
We're not made of money
Joe,
here. 5 lines.
5 lines.
Outback from G.I. Joe. That's my.
And he's frozen again.
And that's all we're getting.
He really does need that ROI. Wow, he wasn't joking.
We need a campaign for his Wi-Fi and my dog's training. Just
can't you help out an underprivileged comic creator? Get some decent Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
we all need to go to the Wizard of Oz. Each of us need one fucking thing.
There you go. You can do a Fisticuff Vicky Sticks crossover. Instead of a blooming onion, they get attacked by a watermelon.
He's my number one. I don't know if people are.
The best part is he's still listing it out and doesn't realize he's frozen.
Exactly. Like, what the hell's going on? Poor Jay's stuck in the Twilight Zone today. All right.
I'm so disappointed I made that question for him. I thought he would be so excited for it.
I think he is excited for it.
He is. Can't you tell?
Yeah, he's excited. Yeah.
When he unfreezes, we should all just adamantly disagree with him, even though we didn't hear anything that he said. Just tell him he was incredibly wrong in all of his
Just
choices.
saying, nobody would pick those 5. That's ridiculous.
All choices, terrible choices, all of it.
Oh,
Right. You know, I'm going to. You know what I'm going to do? Oh, he dropped out again.
There he goes.
What I'm going to do
and to run.
is, we're gonna go. We're gonna pull up a couple of campaigns because if we don't start there, we might never get through the night. Okay. Here we go. Mr. Fish, please walk us through this.
All right. This is the Roll for Hero Handbook and Mini Comic. Like I said, we do a show every Wednesday at 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern. Roll for Hero with my buddy Esteban from Ultra Comics, and we roll up a bunch of random prompts out of the Roll for Hero Handbook, and we create new villains and superheroes and stuff and monsters out of those prompts. And it's a real fun, like, creativity exercise, like an imagination engine thing. It's not a role-playing game system. It's just a series of prompts to help inspire creativity. It's not like Lego bricks that will only go together in one direction with hard and fast rules. It's like we're giving you a series of colors of paint, and then you can paint whatever you can come up with out of that. And sometimes the things blend together really easily. Sometimes they don't. And that is personally where I have the most fun, trying to make it work together and see how can you make super speed and ice powers, work together in one character. The show is a lot of fun. The fans on the show are a lot of fun. And this is just a way to be able to do it at home, to do it with your kids, to come up with random cool ideas if you get stuck on something. If you need a throwaway henchman to get killed in your next book, it's a great way to come up with somebody quick on the spot that you're not emotionally attached to. And we have a lot of fun doing this at cons with kids and coming up with new characters and helping them see how we put the ideas together. And we're also going to be doing a mini comic together on live stream. So anybody that backs, even for $5 on the digital tier, will get links to 3 streams a week where we're going to be rolling up brand new characters. And we're going to do everything from come up with the story, come up with the characters, build the world, lay out the pages, pencil, ink, letter, down to like printing and stapling and trimming comics, shipping them, the whole 9 yards. So if you want to get started making mini comics, this would be a good stream to hang out on for $5 and take part. If you want to be a part of a comic book and you got some fun ideas you want to shout out in the comments, you could be the one that helps come up with the name for a character, or be able to say, hey, I'm the reason this guy got punched in the face in this panel. I shouted that out. Could be fun.
On the same lines of that, do you think that it might be counterproductive in the world of everybody wants to own everything, and that they're going to be like, hey, where's my cut of the pie if they have stuff in your book?
I could see that being a potential issue with some personalities, but this is we're getting to hang out and have fun working together, and the coolest idea wins. Even if it's not mine, the coolest idea wins. And we're going to make, a cool mini comic together. My only caveat and rule on it is that it has to be, roughly kid friendly, because I want to keep the environment friendly for some of the younger people that want to learn how to make comics, that have always, wanted to do this when they grow up. I want it to be a place where they can come hang out to and learn how to make the kind of comics that I used to make when I was a kid, and, print them up at home and staple them and take them out and sell them to your friends, make a couple of bucks. But yeah.
When are you guys going to launch?
August 3rd. So it's
cool.
Like,
not too far off.
Yeah. Next week, I think.
Yeah. Not too far off. You're almost there. And listen, I mean, if that's a concern with what Mark was saying, you could always put up a disclaimer before the show. You you throw up whatever you throw up, it's no longer yours. It's in the public domain, as they say. All right. So, all right, Chris, what are we looking at?
So this is Mandrill PI, issues 1 through 9. So issue 9 is the penultimate issue of the second story arc. And this second story arc is about Manny gets a call to go on this cruise ship and investigate some missing children. And he learns that there's a lot more at play as he encounters a mysterious luchador who, in typical superhero fashion, they get into it and have a big brawl, and then realize that there's something deeper at play. There's a big conspiracy going on. And so this is, like I said, the next to last issue of this story arc. We've got some super cool variant covers for this issue. These are all previews from past issues. I like to put a few pages from each of the previous issues, and that's what you're scrolling through now. If you want to click on the left side and just jump down to the variant covers, we can talk through those. I've got first and foremost, let's see, you guys scroll down a little bit. This is if you've read The Dark Room, or if you have been anywhere near Chicago and drank Revolution Brewing, that's Scott Buoncristiano. And I had been emailing back and forth with him, it felt like, for 2 years before he finally had availability. So I got one from him, and I'm super excited about that. And then second here is I always try to get an animator, like somebody from traditional animation, to do a variant cover for me. Since my story takes place in a cartoon universe, I always try to have that connection back to the cartoon industry. And so this is Fernando Puig, who worked on Looney Tunes The Day the Earth Blew Up, worked on the Cuphead show, and then a bunch of other animation properties. And he just brought a ton of just ridiculousness and fun to his cover. And then finally, I'm sure people are familiar with Jay Hammond, who has done a ton of variant cover work throughout the indie scene. And I just said, hey, let's do an homage to Do a Powerbomb, because we've got this luchador character in here, and he just went wild with it, and I just thought it was ridiculously cool. So got variant covers, and then the typical assorted rewards. We've got the digital rewards, got T-shirts, I've got Lego minifigs of all the different characters, which is super fun. And then I'm kind of testing out some other things that I haven't done in the past. I'm testing out an add-on for a temporary tattoo of the Scott Buoncristiano art, and then if my prototype ever gets here in time, like a book cover wallet to test out to see if people are interested in some kind of just more off the wall add-ons. And so overall, though, it's been a super fun campaign, and we're getting near to finishing that second story arc, and then after that we'll have the second trade paperback. So
very nice, very nice.
So when you're writing a mystery, do you start with how the actual mystery is and then work backwards, or do you just start the story and then figure out as you go along?
So normally the mystery and then kind of go backwards from there. But Carlos, my artist, who we've been working together for, a little bit over half a decade at this point, he asked, hey, can we do something, it might be kind of fun to get him outside of Toonsville is the name of the city. It might be fun to do something like a cruise ship, something more Latino culture inspired. And so that's where that came from, because he lives in Spain. And so it was one of those things where it was actually a suggestion by my artist to like play around outside the city, lean into some fun things like that. He got to draw Manny in a Hawaiian shirt, and then got to create this luchador character who didn't show up in any of the prose novels. So we got to completely create this character together, which was just super fun. So
all right, very nice. I love your stuff. So obviously after this there'll be another arc.
Yeah, that's the plan. Just keep doing comic story arcs, because the prose novels, like that storyline is completely done. Now I'm trying to do completely new stories in comic form, and then eventually we'll adapt the prose novels. But as of right now, the plan is to just keep doing original stories for the comic.
Listen, I love the series. The great book. Another 13 days. You've already funded, so now it's all gravy. So everybody, jump on. This is a fantastic series. I can't recommend it. It's a great book. Just go get it. It's a lot of fun. Okay. And then, I know who we're gonna bring up. I don't know what happened for Jay, Mr. Fisticuffs.
Hey,
Fred.
yes, sir.
So talk to me.
Sure. So, Fisticuffs is the story of a functional drunk whose comfortable life derails after a one-night stand has deadly consequences. It's got the explosive action. Son of a bitch.
Literally.
He, stop it. Out.
I wanted to pitch this better than you did.
No, you know what it is? He heard that threat of like the training and he's taking it very seriously. He's like, I'm gonna fuck this up, Dad. You are not gonna make that dollar. You're not gonna send me to PetSmart. And no. We're not doing that again. All right, he left the room. Good. So, Fisticuffs, story of a functional drunk whose easygoing life derails when a one-night stand has deadly consequences. It's got the dark, twisted sense of humor of The Boys, the kind of explosive action you'd find in Invincible, and the kind of deeply personal storytelling that you would get in like a Martin Scorsese movie. It's a grim, gritty, intense story about dysfunction and addiction, and just a character going through a lot of pain. So we are in late pledges now. We're going to be on there for just a few more weeks. So if you want to get in now, we have issues 1 through 4 available. It will wind up being a 7-issue miniseries. I know it was advertised as 6. We just decided that it makes a lot more sense, from a production standpoint to do 226 instead of doing, we were going to do a grand 52-page finale. It was kind of insane. So instead we're going to do 2 26 pages. So we'll be a 7-pager. We have 3 more issues to go, but in issue 4, our reluctant protagonist finds himself in a situation where there is a great number of people in jeopardy, and he has to make the critical decision between putting himself at risk to potentially save the day and defeat a giant blooming onion, or stay in his stall and finish his bowel movement. So it's a critical point in the character's story and life and digestive system. So jump on board. We have amazing art by the incredible Stan Yak, colors by Timothy Brown and Robert Nugent. Just do a really beautiful job making a really atmospheric, like I said, gritty piece. It feels like a piece of like 70s cinema. And then Dave Sharp does a fantastic job with the letters. He just brings a lot of emphasis and makes it into like a full sensory experience. And then last but not least, Kiss has been listed with a few campaigns now. They've done an amazing job with the variant cover. I think if you scroll up, you can see the somewhere in there is the piece they did of our Gothic heroine right there. Some of it at least. So that's still available as well. So give the campaign a look. It's like I said, it's like a deeply personal story. It's probably the most personal thing I'll ever write. It's like my Mean Streets or my like James O'Barr's The Crow. Just bleeding on a page. So take a look and give it a shot, and please jump on board and enjoy yourself, because this dog is humping my arm right now, and he really just needs to go back to basics, square one. He needs it, so please.
Terrible.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you're in, you're in late pledges, so you're doing well. You've already funded, so it's coming out. It's a great book. Go check it out, folks, because it was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
All right. Cool. All right. Mr. Mark Torres, designated number 2. Talk to me.
Designated issue 1 and 2. This is the second crowdfunder we've done, which is very interesting. I find that for the second issue, I've been able to sell more copies in person than I have online. So I find it very interesting how that worked out. But it tells a tale about 2 warring alien races fighting over a new discovered power source. The war finds its way to planet Earth, and as a result, some humans gain abilities. That is issue 1, and issue 2 is on the crowdfunder site. I've always said that I do not work for crowdfunder. I have no investment in crowdfunder, but I find that crowdfunder is a great place to have your book at. Just that it's not as easy for people to find it who normally go and look for comics online, because you do not have to sign up for crowdfunder to buy the book. You just go in there, press the button, and it turns to an actual store. And if you bypass the amount of time that you want to do your run for, it turns into a regular store. So this will be up for however long I need it to be.
That's cool.
Cool. So obviously this is the second issue. How long are you running this campaign for? I mean, I know it has no end, but
yeah, I just kept it up. I run it. I started 2 years ago for this one. I paused it because it wasn't fully ready to go. I'm like, I hate not having the book ready and asking for money. So I got the book finished. I relaunched it. It kept, as you can see, it says 2 years running, but I only relaunched it 3 months ago, and it just keeps everything as it is there. You know, I do have a $2,000 goal. If I make $2,000 goal, I'll be able to print issue number 3. But for online, it's very slow. But I've been selling a lot of issues in person. I've been doing a lot of cons and signings and whatnot. So I find, and I am guilty of not going online as much because just my bandwidth and free time is very limited. So I feel that if I did go on more online places, I would be able to get the online up. And I also wanted to mention that we are really hoping and waiting for the end of this month to get word from New York Comic Con if we're going to have our panel, because we got a panel for issue 1 when it came out. It was presented by Trauma, and we actually got to perform the comic as a radio play. So we already submitted everything. We're just kind of waiting and hoping on pins and needles. If we get the approval at the end of this month for issue 2, we'll be having a panel at New York Comic Con. That's why the link of the YouTube page in there. So that was the original panel. And we're just trying to get that out there to get the book more noticed online.
All right, cool. I mean, listen, man, I mean, you just, like you said, you just got to keep hustling. So got to keep pushing out forward. But I read the first issue, really enjoyed it. I still have to get the second issue. So, I'll be getting that from you soon. But yeah, man, good stuff.
Thank you.
What? Okay, so I'm gonna pull up Jay's. Since he's not here, his current campaign is New York versus the World #1 in full color. It's been remastered. He redid the whole thing. It's in full color now. I think he redid some of the lettering. He has some. He has this card that he gives out to all of his to all of the returning backers. So you get a new card just for returning back from other campaigns. And yeah, man. I mean, who doesn't like zombies? It's a good book, and the coloring on it, I mean, it does make it pop. So I think it does make a difference. So everybody go check it out. I mean, he has it up. He's running a short campaign that all right. Still has 14 days to go. It's about halfway to his goal. So very nice. Go check it out.
I remember reading the black and white version a while ago. It was really darn good. So if you like zombies, it's a really good read.
Yeah, I backed it. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, cool. One last thing. Dreamweaver's just finished, but of course, can't keep a good mouse down. A Country Night in New York City, the Oswald Chronicles 1 through 4 is coming out. I don't know, next couple of weeks probably. I'll be launching it, but I got the page up, the pre-launch page up, and this is the lead character. Her name is Anna. She's from a race called the Calcians, and her particular small town is being invaded. And she's being attacked, and she's forced to go out and defend the city, well, defend the town. And I'm a big fan of Frazetta, so I thought it would be fun to have these Frazetta covers made up, just because I think they're hilarious. The artist is Douglas, and I'm forgetting the rest of his name, but he's a really good artist. And yeah, so he did these for me, so it was really funny. These are some of the interior pages and some of the action she goes through. All right, so that's it for that. So let's get back to our regularly scheduled program. I guess Jay's still having problems. All right. Does anybody else have a question, or should I? Or should
Everybody can finish answering my question.
Oh, sorry. What was your question?
Where do people go and find other places to
Oh,
show their
right.
stuff?
I think Mr. Fish and Fred answered.
Mhm.
Right. So, Randy, I guess you're up.
That would be anywhere that you can find an audience. I've been looking for format and audience for a while, something unique and that would attract a larger numbers than what we're getting. And I haven't seen anything yet, but I have my eyes open. You know, if we were to all convert over to a saleable format 5 years ago, right now we'd all be looking like Dogman in hardback and thick. But that's, you know, that's not the way to go. There has to be an inexpensive, nice quality format to get your story out to people and have it be accessible, like what Fred was saying. I don't know where that is. If I can find it, if I find it or run across anything like it, I'll definitely let everybody know. I ran a little newspaper here in my county, a comic paper, because I got so tired of dealing with Diamond for 100 issues. And that took about 1.5 years to really catch on. But I'm here in Flint, and we ended up going through the water crisis, and it just shot my advertising money on it. But I had a little comic paper I was giving away for free, did it for 100 issues, printed 10,000 of each one. And there for a while there, it was incredibly successful. So comics as a format, or not as a format, as a medium, is really, really ideal. I've had that problem that Fred's had for a long time, trying to find the format and the distribution system is the real problem right now. You know, you look at the comics that are coming out, the quality's there, the entertainment value is there, the skill level is there on the majority of these books. It's just the fact that they need to be seen. They need to get out there and be seen. That's the big thing.
Cool.
I can't think of a time other than the mid 80s where there was so much variety and so much great stuff out there just looking to be bought.
This is true. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I use a couple things. So with the newsletter that I do, there's a company called Story Origin and a company called Book Funnel. Most people are more familiar with Book Funnel than Story Origin, but it's really finding group promos to get your like reader magnets into. So luckily, like being prose novelist or prose author as well as comic book creator, I've got like a couple of reader magnets that are prose, and then I've got I'll use issue 0 of Mandrill PI as a reader magnet as well. And so just, you know, newsletter swaps with other authors, and I span a few different genres. So I've got like comedic science fiction, and I've got you know, the hard-boiled urban fantasy route. And so just getting into a bunch of different newsletters as much as possible, so that then my audience grows, so then I can direct them toward the Kickstarters, stuff like that. Then also, I mentioned when we had my page up that I always try and use somebody from the animation industry to do a variant cover. I found that has gotten me in front of like a slightly different audience. It's very tangent. It's very close to a comic audience, but sometimes people that are into animation aren't paying as much attention to comics, and it's helped cross over a little bit there. And then again, with the prose novels, I've gotten some crossover there with, you know, comic fans jumping over to prose, and then people that would normally not consider comics who are familiar with the property from the prose novels jumping back over to the comics as well. So a few different routes there. And then you know, I was doing the TikTok thing for a while, and it was growing the audience, and I thought it was a great. Then, you know, real life and day job got in the way, and I just didn't have time to keep putting out the content for it. And so I had to let that fall by the wayside. But the other routes I found have been pretty beneficial. So.
Cool. Wow. No. Doing anything. You know, just Facebook and Twitter, and I barely use Twitter and Instagram. Forget about it. But it's mostly my newsletter, Substack, Facebook, and, you know, this particular show, Jay's show, we go on there. One of the things that I'm trying out Jay's included, Tom is included, a couple of the other guys are included, is we're going to be doing something we're going to be announcing real soon. And we're hoping that it will at least expand our marketplace a little bit. We're just not ready to announce it just yet. I don't want to just, I've spoken about it for the last couple of weeks, but I mean, we're really close to getting it done. And then, but it's something that we may do again, and we may open it up to other creators to join us. But we'll see. We got to see how this one works out. And it was a little bit of a test getting the whole thing done. But it's been cool. It's been cool, but it's sometimes a little rough. So, but we're trying something different, and it's not that different. It's been done before, but it's different for us because we've already beaten the horse of Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, kind of to death. So now it's just time to try to move on to something different, even if it is a little crazy, right? Because sometimes you got to try a little crazy just to get ahead just a little bit. So, that's where I'm at. Mark, answer your own question.
I find that the biggest issue is that the younger generation just is not really into comics. So one of my side gigs is I'm working at a daily comic book convention in Long Island, and it's really Pokemon. The kids are into Pokemon. The people older than me are the ones buying comics, and they don't bring the kids with them. However, they do bring their kids to get Pokemon stuff. And I have noticed, as I mentioned, going to local stuff, local signings and things, that's kind of where I found that people will buy the book. It's really hard to figure out where to put all your effort into. And if you spread yourself too thin, that's not helpful either. So my answer would be try local stuff as much as try online stuff. But if you can get one to work, stick with that until you can figure out the next best step. For myself, like I said, the big thing I'm kind of holding out for is the New York Comic Con thing. So if that goes, then my focus would be on that. But right now it's just kind of local stuff.
All right, cool. So one more time, does anybody else have a question? Because if you don't, I got one.
Yeah, I got a question.
Go ahead, Fish.
Hopefully, I hope we are all constantly trying to better ourselves and hone our skills and get better at what we're doing. What is your go-to source for inspiring yourself, learning more, getting better at your craft? What's your go-to source for inspiration for you?
Okay, well, that's cool. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah. So I'd say, just reading fiction in general. And I know it's not like a deep answer or like a really profound answer, but that and just over the years after having a kid, I went more and more just playing dumb things on my phone all the time and really only doing audiobooks. And I'm about to sound like a super old man, but going back to physical books and forcing myself to go back to that and read every night with a physical copy of a book, because I stare at screens so much for a day job and then for the comic and writing work, and just planting my nose in front of an actual physical book every night has been just kind of it's helped spark a lot of creativity for me recently. So
my wife is like that. She works at a lab, works on a computer all day, and the only reading she'll do is physical.
Yep.
And she has to have that in a book just for the textile to hold it, Absolutely.
Yep. Oh, Randy, since you're already there,
where do I go for inspirations? Just look at silly YouTube too much. Pretty much been getting into a lot of ancient civilization stuff, but I don't know where else. I had an answer already in my mind and it slipped away because I'm tired and sick. But
That happens.
Yeah, inspiration wise, trying to read a little bit every day. That's something that I've gotten back into. I got a copy sent to me of the Terranauts that I've been trying to get through the last month or so. But other than that, it's picking up and buying old, comics and books and keeping your eyes open for rummage sales, that kind of thing. So any inspiration, plus the podcast that I do 2 podcasts for here on Indie Comics Network, Friday morning and at 5 a.m. at Eastern time, and Sunday morning at 9 a.m. where we look through old comics. And for us, that's the inspiration and creativity spark right there. We go through classic comics and we dissect them, talk about different techniques and things. And I've got Russ Leach and Glenn Fleming over in the UK, and that's why I do shows so early in the morning. Excuse me. And then we cover all sorts of stuff. We've been doing it for a couple of years. It's been a lot of fun, and it's very inspiring.
All right, cool. Fred.
Yeah. Can I ask, like, in inspiration for what? Like, are you talking about like for like to be creative, or for like?
Well, for me, it's inspiration,
or...
like honing your craft, getting better at what you do, like learning, growing to be a better storyteller.
So right now, one of the things I'm trying to do is I'm trying to like force myself for something, something that I'm not the best at, which is reading more prose. I think I've talked about it on a few shows I've been on. Like growing up, I had issues with prose, with my focus and stuff. I had awful reading comprehension, like, in like the 30th percentile. I just had a really tangential brain and I couldn't focus. Now I'm a little better medicated, a little more mature, a little more chill, little bit. So I'm trying to, because when I was younger, I was a hardcore like movie nerd and comic nerd. Like that's really where those kinds of like visual storytelling is kind of what I learned. And then as I got older, I became more into like documentaries to kind of like help teach me, because that was like a different way that I could learn and retain information really well. And like I said, now I'm trying to if there's an aspect of like my writing that I want to get better at, it is maybe the prose aspect of it. And that comes from reading prose. So I'm trying to force myself to do that now. I'm trying to, as I haven't been good about it recently, but I'm trying to follow Calderon's lead about turning the TV off more during the week and keeping that out of my distraction purview. But and also too, the reason why I asked for the clarification on your question is because like in terms of like just inspiration in general, like I have a few like DVDs and documentaries and stuff that I've accumulated over the years and stuff. There's a really good one if anybody can ever find it. It's called Boffo, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, or something to that effect. But it was like a mid 2000s documentary produced by HBO, and it was just a bunch of like celebrities and people like and filmmakers and producers and stuff, and they all have their stories about how they were told no a million times and how this was supposed to work and it didn't, or this wouldn't. Another great one, Tales from the Script, just a bunch of interviews with like Hollywood writers, and they help you understand how artists don't last long in that kind of field. There's a lot of stuff that a lot of great insight to be had. So I like to kind of like learn in the like learn from the people that have kind of been there and stuff, and the kind of different worlds that I want to be a part of too. Like there's a great PBS documentary on the history of comics I love, and all kinds of stuff like that. Really nerdy shit. So yeah, I should make a playlist for people, but yeah. Nobody should.
Mark, what are your thoughts?
Against everybody else, I would say TV is pretty much where I get my inspiration from. But that being said, Critical Mark has been around for many years since Independence Day movie came out. So I kind of watch everything with that critical eye, and so it's so when I find something, it's like, wow, this is really good, and I'll hone in on that. So I have to watch a lot of crap to get to it. Right now, I would say that the TV show From is really good, and I get a lot of inspiration for that because it's a very different show. I like to explain it as it's like Lost, starring one of the guys from Lost, but it's better than Lost. And the other show is Silo. Those two shows I'm really watching, and I'm like, wow, these are really good. and I'm trying to pick up why it's so good and why it makes it different than all the other stuff out there.
All right, cool. For myself, as far as trying to improve myself as a creator, as a writer, structure, and that sort of thing, I try to read writers who are better, way better, like on most people's Mount Rushmores. I'm trying to read, I'll go back, I'll read Frank Miller, Alan Moore, Neil Gaiman, Warren Ellis. I'll read all of the top comic book guys, but I'll also go back and read Heinlein, and I'll go back and read Ellison, and I'll go back and read some of these Asimov. I just finished a book called Bright Sword by Lev Grossman, which is, he's the guy that wrote The Magicians. And I mean, when you go in and you read very studied work, and I don't mean like these are not treatises on like history or anything, but you can tell the authors are very studied, right? Mm-hmm. That they've put a lot of time, effort, and energy in the craft, in the way to write them. Lev Grossman, I think he released the last Magicians book probably about 7 or 8 years ago, so, and he's been working on this book probably that long. Some authors will put out a book a month if you let them, right? This guy takes the time to put out one book in 7 or 8 years, and that's the sort of thing I look for, right? So in it's hard because, it's not, I mean, it is difficult. You got to try to break the work down, try to figure out how they did certain things, why did they do certain things, and not get distracted by, oh, this is a really good book and it's so much fun, and I'm just trying to flip through the page, trying to get through it just to get, right? But you're trying to figure out what makes it so fun, right? And that's what it is. But on another aspect is to, as far as like, what do I look at just for creativity's sake, right? God rest his soul, he just recently passed away, Mitch Bird, right? Mitch would release all these art books, right? And I know there are illustrations in those books because they're just like, he has like all these random illustrations, like 4 or 5 per page, and they're just random stuff that came out of this guy's head. And I could look at that stuff and extrapolate whole stories just from that one figure. I could look at a figure, a drawing, and I'd be like, oh man, this and this story will come out. This character for this story will come out, right? There was he had an illustration that I used in one of my stories, right? It was some short person carrying around a giant head by the ears, right? And I made that a bartender in one of my stories, in an Oswald story. He's his servant is holding up, and he's like the owner of the bar, and he's just giant. It's just a giant head, and it's just so insane. I was like, yeah, this sounds like fun. This is fantasy. This is stuff we can do, So, when you see something like that, and there's all kinds of creators, like you see these artists, they're just drawing stuff randomly. There's no rhyme or reason to any of it. They're just like, they're just sitting there illustrating, and you can sit there and extrapolate whole worlds from this stuff, and like, and God bless them, And like I said, I mean, I mentioned Mitch Bird because he's for me, a classic example of that, where I would see the work and it was just, you just flip through it. And you're just like, whoa, man, there was just so much going on there, So yeah, so that's what I do. So Mr. Fish, please answer your question.
I absolutely suck at trying to study like a prose book for structure and like, how did they make me care about this character? Because I just get lost in experiencing what happened, and I start reading it trying to study, and I'm at the end, and I remember it happening, but I can't break it down the way I can with a movie or a TV show. Like, I love watching movies and stuff with my kids, and we will spend hours afterwards tearing it apart. Like, how did they make us care about this character? How did they make me cry when little Timmy died? I didn't know little Timmy existed 2 hours ago, and now all of a sudden I'm just weeping that he died in the hospital. How did they make me care about somebody that fast? How did they make me hate the bad guy that quickly? We can break that apart so much easier than I can written prose stories, because I just get lost. The thing that has proven the most useful for my particular ADD brain, again, has been like the short reels starting on TikTok, but now they're on like Instagram and YouTube and stuff. And there are so many awesome writers and screenwriters in particularly that are doing, episodic content, which is, like serialized comics for us. And just breaking down, like, how do you make an interesting villain? How do you make somebody, love to hate your villain? How do you make your protagonist a bad guy that we want to root for? Just all these different things. And it breaks it down in a way, even if maybe I've read the source material that they're taking this information from, hearing somebody else regurgitate it in their own words and how they use it and apply it suddenly opens up all new ideas in my brain. And, and I love it. I get so much out of that. They're some of my favorite people to follow online now.
All right, cool.
Cheers.
Anybody else have a question? No, because I got one. So, what?
Lay it on us, man.
Oh, yes. Do you see cover prices moving up again? Right? And can the consumer base sustain it? Right? So we've seen Marvel and DC pretty much at $5 a book, right? We've seen independent comics. I've seen as high on a 32 page as $6.99, right? And this is new. This is like regular comic book shops. We're not talking about Kickstarter, which is its own animal, right? But at comic shops, could we see this structure move up, right? And do you think there's going to be a bigger pushback or a bigger drop off in sales as far as numbers of fans? I think Mr. Fish. I think you're up again. Or Randy?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I think every couple of years, you're going to see somebody try to test the market with a higher price just to see how the market will take it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said earlier, I've been looking for a different format. I think that there's one coming. I just haven't seen it yet. That'll be inexpensive and that'll serve the entertainment needs and help grow an audience for the medium. Mm-hmm. We've been stuck in 32 pages for too long, and these people who make these collector, backs and boards and the people that slab them, they should be following the format, and we shouldn't be following the collector bag. We should be looking at all sorts of different sizes and shapes. Back in the way back when, comics have been in every form. That's why they were so popular. They were so easily accessible that people just took to them as a form of entertainment. Of course, that was before TV popped in.
And it was cheap as well, which is
that's the whole key. It was
that I think we're missing now. Yeah. Like now, our cheap, disposable, easy to get medium would be like short videos and stuff on YouTube and stuff would be the way to go if we were chasing the same thing that comics were doing back then to get the story out quickly in front of new eyes. But.
I honestly think there needs to be a lot more experimentation upon the market, and the retailers aren't allowing that to happen because it doesn't fit their the square peg in the round hole, because they've been trained for so long to sell one thing, maybe sell another thing, make a little extra money. Maybe there's a card that ties into the comic, but you got to sell that one thing, and the comic's got to look a certain way and be able to be slabbed a certain way, and it's a comic. There ought to be all sorts of different formats, all sorts of different sizes. Love it. Love reading the little books and even the really big books.
At home on your own printer for way less.
Well, there's
what you need.
There was a while there everybody was doing their own what did
ash
they call
cans.
them? Ash cans. Yeah, everybody was doing ash cans. That's not a bad format. That's a nice size.
It's great.
There's some great things out that were only available in ash can.
Mm-hmm.
But there needs to be more experimentation and more play out there.
I agree.
And the retailers need to, like, for example, and I brought this up a number of times. DC had Wednesday Comics out there. They had a weekly tabloid book that I thought was amazing. It was really good. They get a couple of retailers complaining that the that the sun faded the colors on the newsprint on the covers when they stuck them in a window display, and all of a sudden we're not seeing that format ever again.
Yeah.
You know, and the main reason they did Wednesday comics to start with was their little coffee table book end result, and that's what they were aiming for. But in the meantime, see, that's the same format I was printing my Flint Comics and Entertainment paper in. And I was kind of happy that they kind of discovered that format because it fits a magazine bag when they want it to, and it's a great format. There's lots of space on you know to lay stuff out on. It's just that the retailers are so skittish about offering it that it's difficult for anything to catch on.
That's my only problem with stuff bigger than a standard comic book. Like I love the magazine size books like Heavy Metal that gives you so much more room on a page to work with. Like that's the size I wanted to do. And then I bought some really awesome, beautifully painted like interiors in this book that was that size. I bought all 3 issues of it and I brought them home and I immediately lost them, because I couldn't put them with the rest of my comics in the comic boxes. But like you said, everything is standardized to fit around one size now, and they wouldn't go with the rest of my comics. So I put them somewhere else, and then I never saw them again. And that has bothered me ever since, because everything I bought at that size, I usually end up losing before I get to read, because I have to place it somewhere else other than in my to be read box. And then, you know, it's gone with the wind.
All right, cool. Mr. Fish, you have any thoughts on the question though?
I think there's always room for the price to move up. I mean, all the prices are moving up on everything. So they're going to move up. For some reason, comics is just slower than everything else. For some reason, I think we should still be paying the prices we were paying, 10, 20 years ago. And it doesn't work that way when everything else moves up with it. I personally, it bothered me back in the day, and I've been on both sides of this now. It bothered me that everybody was trying to sell stuff for $5 and keep up with Marvel and them, when it was costing a lot of people nearly $5 to get a digital print of their comic. There's no way to make a profit at that. And charging, 10 or $20 on a Kickstarter is one thing, but I've seen people at cons being like, well, the people on Kickstarter paid $20, so it's $20 book. I don't want to hurt them by selling it to you for $5, so it's $20. If you want it, you're going to buy it. If you don't want it, you're not going to. I was always of the mindset that we're not selling, McDonald's, we're selling, like Kobe beef, grass-fed steak, we're selling an artisanal thing for a limited audience, so we should sell it at a higher premium. So I fought with my original publisher, and I moved from $5 up to $10 for my books, and I started selling them there at cons. And I sold probably, depending on the show, 60 to 70% of what I normally sold. I came out making more money every time than I did before on less books. And I only got the hardcore fans that came looking for indie books like I do when I go to a show. I didn't get any maybes. I weeded those guys out and got the hardcore fans. And a lot of those guys are still coming back and backing me on Kickstarters and stuff now. So from my standpoint, I thought this was great. And then I went and I hung out with Henri at C2E2 and watched this dude sell books. And he just hurt my feelings with the way he was slinging books left and right at these prices. And I'm looking at these cover prices, and he's selling books for $34. And I'm like, dude, how are you doing this? And he laid it all out for me in the offset printing. And when you get it in bigger numbers, you can bring the price way down and all of that. So at the next show, I decided, okay, I got to reorder some books anyway. I'm going to sell them at those prices, like I'm getting them reprinted at that price, and just see how it goes. And I sold out of so many books. And I sold entire collections of everything to little grandmas that were like, oh, I could put these in stockings, for all my grandkids. It's too good a deal to pass up. I never got that at $5 or $10, but when I could sell books at $3 or $4, all of a sudden, this is a great deal. And when I can offer a discount, if you sign up for the email newsletter now, then I made
think-
a lot of sales. I don't know who wants issue 3 of the Mighty Claw in their stocking, but maybe they'll come back and buy the rest of them. I don't know. But I made a lot of sales that way. So I ended up moving over to doing offset printing. And I mean, I've got a few boxes of books laying around, and like I've got 2 or 3 big boxes of my latest issue of Alice still here. But my first one, I'm almost out of the first issue of Alice. I've got like that many issues left out of the 500 that I bought. So, it's working. I need to be selling more. That's what I really need to be doing. I'm spending all my time making books. I need to be online selling books. Hey, you want to check out Alice Lost in Wonderland? Go check it out at MrFishComics.com now. But I don't do that. I can either sell or make books. It's one or the other. I only have so much time.
All right, cool. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's just the nature of how, if we're literally talking about will prices continue to go up with, mainstream comics in retail stores, I think it's the nature of like corporations to continue over time, in increasing prices. I think to Randy's point, they test the waters with certain things at times. Oftentimes, maybe that's a variant cover, blind bag format, those kinds of things. But a lot of that is to just see if I feel like it's really dipping that toe in the water to see what you can increase. And also like inputs to make comics, like the prices for those have continued to go up. So like it is one of those things where as those dry goods and as those inputs continue to increase in cost, the publishers are not going to eat that cost. They're going to pass it on to the consumer. And I would just assume that over time, unfortunately, it is going to continue to rise. To Randy's point, though, I'd love to see testing of other formats, cheaper options. I think it was Mark who said like a lot of times the kids nowadays are not really engaging in comics. And I think those of us with kids have all seen it, where a lot of times it's those things that we as parents can provide them to not have to. I'm trying to think of a non-cliched way to say it, but I think other people brought up here, like not essentially breaking our budget on things, and where a lot of times that comes from is the streaming services that we're already subscribed to, or books that we already have on the shelf, like those kinds of things, rather than comics. I've tried to get my kid into comics over and over again, but he's more interested in other things. He's more interested in nonfiction, which awesome for him. Like that's what he likes. And just for whatever reason, he never connected with comics. And I think that when we were kids, it felt like a lot more like mainstream. And if I wanted to have things to talk about with all of my friends, I would read the latest issues because that's what we would talk about. But with his crew, they're so exposed to different things all the time, and there's not one cultural zeitgeist for their generation. So they're getting their entertainment from some of it's cartoons from when I was a kid, some of it's video games that their other friends are playing. Like there's not one source of entertainment for them like it was when we were younger. So yeah, comics will continue to be a thing for some of them, but it will probably, like everything on our algorithms, get more niche for different readers. So long-winded way of saying, unfortunately, I do think prices will continue to rise as audience both continues to get more niche and as inputs for making comics continue to go up.
Cool. Fred.
Right. So again, maybe this is the perspective of somebody that's still on the newer side of this, but I saw something on the internet the other day. It was a nice headline that said Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is prejudiced against poor people, and they showed the IMAX size screen where you see all the image, and then the little tiny cutoff screen that poor people have to endure. And Yeah, gotta love that outrage. Get the pitchforks going. But the truth of the matter is, and I think even in the infancy of my career, I see that in some way within comics, right? In that you have your fans that have to see the deluxe version night of, and they're going to go pay for the 70 millimeter IMAX on opening night, whatever the cost, and they're going to get their Trojan horse bucket and all the goodies. And you have those backers on Kickstarter, right? For example, right? The people that need the physicals and they get the premiums and they get everything. And then you get the people that'll see the IMAX, but they're going to wait for it to die down and they get the equivalent of a physical copy. And then you have your people that it's just not a priority for. They want to see the story, but they'll see it with the cheaper, they'll save a few bucks and then whatever, and they'll be your PDF people and so forth. So, I'm sure that the what do you call it? The cover price will go up. Of course it will. And unfortunately, I think the number of spots that the competition for the consumer dollar is going to get really hard because the Absolute universe just swept at the Eisners, so they're not going anywhere. So all the Absolute titles are staying, and so are all the mainstream Batman stories, and so are all the next gen initiatives that they're pushing, and the Marvel characters and so forth. So it's going to be a really competitive medium. So I think the thing that we have to, and Fish is great at this, right? I look at Fish a lot, and that's not just being, not just being a creator, but you're a lot of things, right? You're a creator, you're a personality, you're you're a show host, you're a lot of stuff. You're a TikToker. I see Mr. Fish all the time when I actually do blow the dust off my TikTok and check in there. But I think that it's going to be, I think, getting back to the central point of today, right? It begins with putting out a quality product and a quality content that you believe on, but then it's how much can you hang off of that? The term that we hear a lot is streams of income. It's can you get a Kickstarter audience and then a newsletter audience and then all the other audiences that come with it, an in-store audience and so forth. So, I think that the prices are going to go up. And I think, to Randy's point, there are going to have to be different ways to get them to people. But I think a lot of us are already doing that, when we do our Kickstarters and the way that we structure them with the different, tiers and stuff. So, we just got to keep pushing. And, one of the best pieces of advice that I ever got, I tell the story that this was, I got this piece of advice from a naked man in a locker room one day when I was working in a gym, and it was the best piece of advice I ever got from a nude man. But he said that we go into battle with the army we have, not the army that we wish we had. We just got to, if the prices go up and if times demand it, there's not much we can do about it. We can complain, but that's not going to help. We just got to do our best and find creative solutions.
All right, cool. Mark, what are your thoughts?
Way back in 2007, I used to talk to my mechanic quite often, and he had a gas station. It was a gas station mechanic shop combo deal, and this was when gas was super cheap. And he told me, he goes, one day gas prices are going to go up and they're never going to come back down, but they will never go over $5. And then 2008 came along and the prices just shot up. And if you remember, it got close to $5 and it went back a little bit down and it stayed around that area for a while. And even today, when it hits that $5 mark, people just go crazy, and that's the limit. So I think the consumers will decide how high you can go before they're that's it, no more. And then the publishers will adjust and pull it back slightly. I mean, they're trying to do that with movies. They raise the price a little, and they're oh crap, it's too high. Let's make a bargain Tuesday. Let's try to do something to offset that. So I think while the prices will go up, it will go to a limit, and then it's going to pull back. And whatever that limit is, that's where it's going to have to be. And other formats can make cheaper options because everybody's always looking for that cheaper option. And if it goes too high, then they're going to find that cheaper option, whether it be legal or illegal methods.
Fair enough. Yeah, this one's interesting. California, my understanding is gas is like $6 a gallon or something because of the taxes, on the gas.
Yeah, I got no mercy on my Odyssey ticket. So
Right. Yeah, neither did I.
Well, to be fair, I am in New York, so let's.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Fred, those are some real first world problems.
I know.
Some real first world problems. Big screen, little screen. First world problems. If those are the only issues you have in life, I think you're gonna probably be all right.
I was just reading the article. I was not protesting in the streets. Okay.
Okay, great.
I was perfectly happy with my field of vision. Everything looked beautiful.
Yes. For myself, I mean, yeah, I think prices will probably maintain at $5 for a while, right? I just think on the indie spectrum where we're at, right, where the books are $5.99, $6.99, I want to get back into the direct market. But I'm saying, should I be doing 48-page books at like $7.95? Do I do a 64-page book and charge $8.95? You understand? At what point, what's that? Where can I find that sweet spot, right? Because there's an interesting story by Bill Black, right? Bill Black is the owner and creator of AC Comics down in Florida, and this was when Diamond was still around. They were about to kick him out of the catalog. Okay, they were about to kick him out, and he had been in that catalog from the beginning, and he had been, I guess, their longest running publisher outside of Marvel and DC, obviously, right? And they were like, we don't want, like, the guy really did not want to kick him out. It's just his sales were not meeting their numbers, and that's all that was, right? Because they had they say you had to sell at least $2,500 worth of books, right? They killed that a few years ago, but at that time it was $2,500 worth of books, and they just weren't reaching that number. And the guy just said, "Listen, man, just raise the price of your damn book." And if you were to look in the old Diamond catalog, those books were selling for $10, standard 32-page comic. And he said by doing that, they were able to stay in the catalog because they were raising enough money. Because those fans who bought it really wanted it. They probably had 1,000 dedicated fans, and they really wanted that book. And it probably wasn't even 1,000, probably more like 500 or 600. But they really wanted that book, right? So I think that's where we're at. We have our small core group that are like, yeah, these are the indie comics that we want. And it goes back to the original to the other questions we're asking. Is like, where can we find more of these people, right? Where can we find more? Where can we get more of those, right? Because we all need them, right?
And they're not the same people, which is what really surprises me,
Right.
because the people like me that will go out and back, Fred's Kickstarter for his book, aren't the same people that would go pick up his book in comic book shops. Right. And not necessarily the same people that will flock to his table to buy it in person. And it's so weird to me that the people that like the same thing won't necessarily go the same direction. Like my buddy T.S. Luther, he just did the Digger through Invader Comics, and they sold out all 4 issues. They redid new print runs for issues 1 and 2, I think. He sold out 5,000 copies of this book in comic book shops, just going on his TikTok with like 1,000 something followers every day, and just telling the story about, it's like if Indiana Jones was hunting Short Round, and he just did that every day and had people going to stores to pre-order it. He said he never could get that many people to come back a Kickstarter. He never could get that many people motivated to just click a link and go to a Kickstarter and buy the same book. But they would all call their comic book shop and pre-order it before the final order cutoff and, get it. I started a freaking pull list just for this book. I never had one before this, and now I got way too many things on it. But it's weird how, the people that would love our stuff aren't all in the same places and won't all do the same thing. So there's a million different ways to reach that pocket of people that, would buy it in this instance.
Yeah. I mean, in your case, right? You're selling, you have the last book you did with the prison break one. What was that one called? The super
Green Zone, Life in the Box.
Green Zone, yeah. Don't mind me. The only reason I don't remember the title is because I'm waiting for my copy. But
I'm waiting for him too.
But you do that. You also do your Alice in Wonderland book. Like, do you have a lot of crossover between those two types of books?
That's another thing. Like, I thought for sure everybody that loved my work from Green Zone, and I thought everybody that loved my work on other books like The Sentinels and 5-Star were going to come flocking to Green Zone. They did not. Surprise, surprise. And then I just assumed everybody that came to Green Zone, were my fans and liked what I do. I assumed that they would all jump over to the Mighty Caw of the Cro-Magnon, and which is like a big bloody bird barbarian. No, it's some of them do. There's your Brad Arneys and stuff that like all the stuff that I do, but a lot of it was like a whole different group of people that came over for this barbarian book. And they're not all the same people that back on Alice. And the people that the first Alice Lost in Wonderland I did was on BackerKit as part of their Comictopia thing a couple of years ago. I had like 130 or something people back over there. And most of those aren't people that back my Kickstarters. That group of people doesn't cross over. I had so many people that back everything I do on Kickstarter that wouldn't go to BackerKit and back it, which just blew my mind, because half the time you're going over to BackerKit in the end anyway to get your book from people. You've been there before, but they're like, nah, I'll wait till you have it for sale. And okay, but it's weird. Yeah, but no, it's not the same audience every time because they're different, which is part of the reason that I'm focusing so much more on Alice in the future, because it's easier to pitch one thing and build an audience around that one thing than running around in circles trying to build 6 different audiences for 6 different things.
Right.
It's just like with Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Like, there were certain people who only got stuff on Kickstarter, only people who only got stuff on Indiegogo. And with me, a lot of people who ordered the book when I tried Kickstarter didn't order the book on Crowdfunder, and a lot of people who ordered the book on Crowdfunder never even decided to bother with Kickstarter. It's very odd.
Yeah. There are people that are loyal to particular platforms. So, Chris, you wrote, your PI book, both in prose and comics. Do you see a lot of crossover between those two?
Yeah, I think it helped that, I mean, the prose novel, or the original prose novella predated the comics, but I started the crowdfunding with the issue number 1 of the comic. And originally I had also done an issue number 0, like a prequel issue with a really self-contained story where it's a cartoon world, and so in that story, Manny, the main character, solves a mystery on behalf of like the anthropomorphic moon of the planet. And so it was like a 12-page story where the sun was having an affair with a passing comet and was trying to stop him from getting the evidence back to Miss Moon. And so I used that for a reader magazine. I used it originally to pitch the book around before I decided to go the crowdfunding route. And when I originally did my first few Kickstarters on the comic, I kind of realized, I started writing the prose novels after I already had the first couple issues of the comic written. But after I had done that original novella, which I used to adapt into the comics. And so then I just decided to kind of test the waters with prose format on Kickstarter, because at that point most of the creators that I knew were going through crowdfunding for comics rather than prose, and most of the prose authors I knew hadn't touched Kickstarter at all. So I wanted to see if there was the ability to attract a new audience there with prose, and then also just kind of test the water for crossover. And what I ended up doing is kind of using some of the strategies that we use in comics on the prose side, where I did a variant cover for the novel. I did like an exclusive print from from Carlos, who's the comic book author as well, so that fans of the comic could get something, pretty fun and exclusive that they couldn't get anywhere else. And so I saw a ton of crossover between the comic and the prose novel. Had I started with the prose first and then switched to comics after that, there might not have been that same crossover, but I guess I'll never know since I went the other way. But it did seem to be the case where a lot of people who were the comic fans wanted to jump over and try the prose. So
I have a question for you, Chris, if you don't mind. As somebody who's done both, and I don't know if you like go to a lot of like prose book shows or anything now, but I've got a friend that's constantly been pushing me that I need to be pushing more into the prose book arena to sell my comics, because she's always telling me that the people that love reading stories will read cool stories anywhere, and they don't care to switch from prose books over to comics. Whereas comics fans tend to stick into comics because a lot of us tend not to be the best readers. And, and it's easier when you got, pictures and stuff to go with it to help understand the story. Some of us are more, visual and whatnot. But she says it's real easy to make sales over there in the prose world if you've got a cool story to tell. Do you find that to be true?
I wish I could say that I've engaged more in like more traditional prose conventions. Most of the cons that I've gone to, by most I mean all of the cons that I've gone to, have been comic cons or like fan expos and that kind of thing. It also, before just this last year, I was living in like small rural Northern California town, and so it was a lot harder to get to some of those. But now that I live in Chicago, one of my goals for this next year is to test the waters a lot more with more prose focused conventions. So if you ask me this 6 months to a year from now, I'd be able to answer that question a lot better, but unfortunately, I just can't answer yet. But I have heard very positive.
With you to Comic Cons?
Oh yeah. I've got my setup is I've got my comedic science fiction series that I put on the left side of things, and then I'll do my Mandrill PI. I usually just put issue 1 out, and then I put the trade collections next to it, and then I'll put my Mandrill PI prose novels to the right of that. And so it kind of flows.
And they do good at shows? I'm curious because a friend of mine cleans up with his prose novels at Comic Cons all the time.
Yeah. It's one of those things where a lot of times I'm in the like writers. I mean, at C2E2, I was in the writers block section where it's all prose novel, like all prose authors. And so having a comic book there like really set me apart from a lot of the other prose authors. And so I'd say having a mix of both of them has been super helpful. And yeah, just I think just not having one thing, so having a mix of different formats for people that read different ways has just been like super helpful.
Having different lures out on the table helps when you fish it. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Different customers go stop for different things. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, we made it to hour 2. Thank you so much. You guys are all awesome. Jay obviously still has internet issues.
He's still answering that question about which toy figure.
Yeah, I know. He probably still is. Yeah. Maybe I'll ask it again next week.
One of them would be Galactus.
Yeah.
For sure.
Wonder Woman, definitely the Galactus.
Wonder Woman.
All right, gentlemen. We'll start with Mr. Fish. Mr. Fish, where could we find you and your work, sir?
I'm Mr. Fish Comics on all social media, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. And go MrFish.com right there will take you directly to what I'm working on now, which is the pre-launch page for the Roll for Hero Handbook and Mini Comic.
All right, cool. Randy?
I do 2 podcasts a week normally, except for this week because I was sick. Friday morning, I do Comics by Night at 5 a.m. And then Sunday mornings, I do the Sunday Funnies at 9 a.m. We are archived over on the Comic Book Black Belt YouTube channel, the Randy Zim YouTube channel, and the Indie Comics Network YouTube channel. Please go over there and check us out. We've been doing this for 2 or 3 years where we look at great old comics like the old Crime Does Not Pay, just classic stuff, and examining different books and looking at different stories and such. Other than that, you can reach me on Facebook and X a little. All of my campaigns I run are over at fundmycomic.com, fundmycomic.com. And the Atlantean number 5 will be campaigned over there. Probably late August, early September, whenever Russ has the has the artwork done. Other than that, the first 4 Atlanteans and the Shadow Kingdom adaptation are available anywhere paperbacks are sold, anywhere you can order the Ingram ordering system. And I ask that you please go check those out. That's the Atlantean 1 through 4 and the Shadow Kingdom by Russ Leach and Randy Zimmerman. Thank you.
Cool. Chris?
Oh, you can find me at cbrimmage.com. So my first initial and last name. And then on Instagram, author Chris Brimmage _between, and then TikTok, it's the flip. So Chris Brimmage, author.
Cool. Fred.
You can find me at Schwartz Art LLC on all the big socials, www.schwartzart-llc.com. And on Kickstarter, Fisticuffs books 1 through 4 still available for the next few weeks. Get in there while you still can. Thank you.
All right, cool. Mark?
You can find us on www.itcamefromtheradio.com or just Google It Came From The Radio. We are the official show of the Big Apple Con. We do a live show on the radio on WGBB, Long Island's oldest radio station, on the 1st, 3rd, and 5th Sundays. Also, the show gets recorded and it gets put out as a podcast. We're on over 45 different podcast places. We're also on WARY 88.1 FM in Westchester County if you're in that area. You can also go to BTD Radio, which plays our archives every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're also on sci-fi.radio, which plays our show every Wednesday at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. And also check out my book, Designated, about 2 warring alien races fighting over a new discovered power source. War brings its way to planet Earth and absorbs some human skin abilities. Issue 1 has the cover by Russ Braun, who is the artist on The Boys. We have inks by Peter Palmiotti. And issue 2's cover is partial artwork by Brian Kong. And we have a live model, which is my co-host for the show, Jennifer Elise Feldman, for that. Yeah, I think that covers all we can find us. Oh, also on Facebook, we do have an Instagram page. I never use it, so Facebook and Twitter is a place where you can find us best.
All right, cool. So, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, DeviantArt, blah, blah, blah. YouTube, most Sundays, usually here with Jay, but, he's been having serious technical issues, but, he'll be back next week, I'm sure. Every other week with Rob Notari, couple 2 to 3 weeks in the future, the Oswald Chronicles back on Kickstarter, so that'll be returning. And just remember, everybody, please check out the show notes. In the show notes are links to all of these creators' campaigns. So please click on those links and buy these books. These creators are making awesome books. They're impassioned creators. They do great, great work. So please buy these books. They're awesome. They need your support. All right. I think Fred still needs training for his dog. Jay needs some more. What is that? He still needs some better Wi-Fi and so on and so forth. So thank you so much, everybody. And have a good night. Read more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.